Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. I hope wherever you are in the world today's been treating you so well. In today's video I'm going to be talking to you about some long-lasting summer makeup. So not only is this like the products that I recommend, of course these are like fantastic products. This is basically what I have been wearing to get me through the first of the summer heat waves. No doubt we have got more to come. We are currently, as I'm filming this, in a little bit of a lull. It's a little bit cooler today. I'm feeling a little bit more myself. But these are all of the products and the sort of techniques that I have been doing to get me through the last heat wave and to get me through the long hot summer. So if I was going to leave the house today, or if it wasn't already like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I would already have my SPF on. The one that I have been loving is of course the Bioma SPF 50 sunscreen. Really liquidy, very easy to sort of apply the right amount, get it to spread out, and it sinks in really nicely. I've been loving this one. I'm very close to finishing that, and I will be purchasing another because I'm a big fan of that one. And then I feel like this is a little bit of a curveball, but I have a reason for it. So I do like to go in with a primer. I know nobody expected that from me, but this is the MUA Pro Base Pore Blurring Primer. I like this because it's mattifying. It sort of smooths onto the skin really nicely. It mattifies and it blurs. It does all of that, but also I feel like it's quite hydrating. It feels lovely on the skin. It is very thick, and I feel like you can see there sort of the texture of it, where it is very mattifying. I don't know how else to say that, but I do sort of just put this down the center, and you really don't need much. Like I probably got too much there actually, but this pressed into the skin and then leave it to sort of sink in and dry down a little bit, and then I feel like it doesn't break down my makeup as much as I get like hot and sweaty throughout the day. I do notice the longevity of my makeup when I wear this one. I don't like mattifying primers. I'm a dry skin gal. I don't like the feeling of mattifying primers or how they sort of feel throughout the day. I don't enjoy them, but because this one is thin and hydrating still, but I feel like the way that it sort of soaks up my oils and my sweat throughout the day, it really does elongate the wear of my makeup. But I do like to give it a little minute to sink in, so I'm going to go on to do my brows while I let that just have a minute or two. So for brows, it's an e.l.f. combo, of course. So this is the Instant Lift Waterproof Brow Pencil. Now, this is actually deep brown, which isn't my preferred shade. However, I'm going to use it today for the purposes of this video. And the Wow Brow in brunette. These two, well, obviously like the brow pencil is waterproof. It is a very long lasting brow pencil, but the combination of these two is lovely. I just don't generally prefer this shade. I usually go for neutral brown. I'm in the market to look at some of the other shades, but I'm going to use these and I'll be right back when I've got some brows on my head. Okay, so brows are done. Like I said, not my preferred colour combo. I do usually like something a little bit warmer, especially since I just redid the colour in my hair. I do usually prefer something a little bit warmer, but that will absolutely do. So that primer has had a decent amount of time there to sink in, and for the foundation sort of a step, I'm going in with the e.l.f. one. I love how this looks. I love how this wears. I do not rely on this for my SPF, because you're not going to apply enough of it. I'm going to be using a sponge as well today, so that's going to soak up some of that SPF coverage. I do not rely on this for my SPF. Just putting it out there. I like it. I like that it's got it. I like that it's a little extra booster, but do not rely on this for your SPF. And that is my rant about SPF. Okay, so this is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Skin tint. I have this in the shade 4 Light Neutral. So going to take a bit of this on the back of my hand. I don't like to apply too much of this, like, you won't be able to see that, sort of a 20p piece size, and get the lid back on there before it goes everywhere. Taking a sponge, a damp sponge, and applying this all over. I like that this is a light coverage and it doesn't feel like anything. It feels so lightweight and thin, and the way that this goes over the primer as well, I feel like the two really work well together to give more of a natural finish. This by itself can look, obviously it's in the name, it can look glowy, but it can look really glowy. But with this primer underneath and also some of the steps that we're going to get into, it makes it look more natural, more of like a natural matte finish, which is my preference, and I just really enjoy the finish of this product as well. Yes, it is more expensive. It is a more expensive base product, but the way that it wears and the way that it looks, I have really been enjoying it. But do not rely on it for your SPF coverage. I feel like I don't even need to I don't need to lecture you about that, but here I am lecturing you anyway. And like, as you can see, super quick. Like, we are near enough done there. Just take the last little bit and tap that over my problem areas where I get more red, sort of down the centre of my face. And I think we are good. Like, it's still a light coverage, but I feel like with that more mattifying primer on underneath, it just sort of dials down that potentially sweaty looking glow a little bit, but it still looks nice and hydrated and juicy. I really like that. So then for concealer, I'm using the MUA Pro Base Double Shot Under Eye Brightener in the shade Light. I can't stop using this. It does not crease on me. It's magic. It is absolutely magic, and I'm actually going to remember to only do one side so that you can see a before and after, because I always forget. But look at me remembering. So that much on there, not too much, but again using the sponge to tap this out, and you will see it brightens. It cancels out those blue tones, not to a crazy amount, like it still looks natural. You can still see it, like the blue a little bit, but it just softly covers everything. And again, the way that this wears throughout the day, it does not crease. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Like, I know this is like comparing some coverage to no coverage, but I just love this under eye brightener. I wouldn't necessarily use this on if I had any spots or anything, but the way that this brightens around my eyes, it's another one that I just cannot stop using. I love, and I really like the way that it blends out with a sponge as well. Like, obviously you get a little bit less coverage that way, a little bit more sort of hydration, all of that good stuff, but the way that it brightens and just makes me look awake, because who is sleeping when it's like 25 degrees inside? And no, okay, if you are anywhere other than the UK, no, we don't have aircon. It's just not a thing. Nobody has it here. We would need it for like 3 days out of the year. Unfortunately, we've just had all of those all together, and we are all struggling. Okay. So on to the base like colour products, I will always say, and I'm going to be doing today, a cream or a liquid product and then a powder over the top. It just, like the light layers, it locks everything in, it gives you the most longevity, and I love doing that all year round, but especially in summer. So for bronzer, I'm going to start with the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Bronzer. This is in Fair to Light, and I'm going to use the tiniest amount of this to warm up the face a little bit, and I will blend this out with a brush. I forgot the word then. This is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and I will just tap this in, start adding some of that colour, but I'm not too concerned about this being like the finished amount of bronze, you know? So blending this in, and you can see it just adds a really soft amount of colour, a really soft amount of pigment, but again just blends in so beautifully. All of the products from the colour products from the Camo line are obviously incredibly long lasting, but the bronzer, chef's kiss, it's beautiful, and that just blends in so beautifully. I will also say summer makeup for me, it's got to be quick. This is a very quick routine when I'm not yabbering on, you know. So another e.l.f. product, this is the Shape It blush tint. This is in Orange Crush. I'm on an orange moment, okay? I love it. So I'm actually going to take another Real Techniques Expert face brush, and I'm going to tap this onto the brush rather than taking this like onto the skin, because otherwise it can get a little bit much. But this is like a water. It feels like nothing. It feels like I'm just tapping a damp brush over my cheek, but it adds the softest little wash of colour that stains. So longevity, she is there, okay? And I do prefer sort of blending it out like this. It just gives me a little bit more control, and also I don't go overboard, because I am known for doing that. So you can see there is colour on the cheeks. There is a little bit of a flush. I'm looking a little bit bronzed, but nowhere near enough for my preferences. So we're going to go over with some powder products to like set those liquids in, starting with the bronzer. This is the Made by Mitchell Bronze Pod. In caramel case, this is a glowy bronzer that just blurs over the skin, but also it's ever so slightly luminous, and the colour is perfect. It just warms up the complexion in the most soft, beautiful way, just adds that tiny little bit of colour. So I'm just dusting that over where I put the e.l.f. liquid one. I'll also put a tiny little bit down my nose just to sort of bring that colour into the centre of the face. I will also take it over my eyelids. I do have eyeshadow, but I'm not doing anything. We'll get to that in a minute. So just dusting that all over the usual bronzy places. I feel like I've gone overboard on the eyes, but that doesn't matter. We'll get to that in a minute. And then for blush, summer is Luminoso season. So this is the Milani Baked Powder Blush in Luminoso. Taking another Real Techniques blush brush, and again, this is glowy. It's very softly glowy, but the peachy colour from this blush with that orange liquid underneath. Look at that glow. I mean, I brought over a highlight, but do I need it? I don't know. We'll see how I feel at the end. Honestly, I will want to add it at the end, won't I? So you can see the skin is looking soft and glowy, lightweight coverage. It's not looking heavy, but it just looks perfected and glowy and juicy and beautiful. So at this stage, I would go in with a setting spray. And this one, I'm gonna have to buy another one soon. Honestly, I'm so close to finishing this and I've only tested it recently. It's the Revolution Superfix Hydra Cool Dewy Fixing Mist. This is like a spray aerosol. It feels cold on the skin, which of course is a beautiful thing when it's so hot outside, but this does actually melt everything in beautifully. So at this stage, note, I haven't put any setting powder on yet, but I'm going in with this now. Just a little light spritz of this all over. I'm getting my hair out of the way because I don't want it to get into my hair. Just a light amount, not too much, and I'm gonna get my little hand fan and dry this down a little bit. So that setting spray has all dried down now, and I'm just going to go back in with a tiny little bit more of the blush and the bronzer, knocking everything all over the place, just to tap over the top of that setting spray. Not that it feels tacky, but like it's just another little layer on the skin. So I'm just tapping a little bit more of the blush, and then also a little bit more, I've got two of the same brush, a little bit more of the bronzer, just to really lock in all of that colour. I don't want that fading throughout the day, and this does just lock everything in and keep it looking beautiful. So I do also feel like, of course, that setting spray is a dewy fixing setting spray. I would absolutely be interested in trying, if they were to bring out more of a matte finish one, I would also probably really enjoy that. But that is how all of that is looking. It does add a juicy dewiness to the skin, and I'm just going to go in with a tiny little bit of powder. So this is the Collection Blurring Powder. I love this stuff. I love this stuff in conjunction with the e.l.f. I think these two together really work incredibly well. I usually use a very small, not very small, but a small, more targeted setting brush, but I've really been enjoying using a bigger one, bigger surface area and more fluffy, and applying a little bit less, applying sort of, again, just light layers, like getting less on the skin all at once, but still being quite targeted with it, just getting it in the areas where I get a little bit oilier throughout the day. This powder is also fantastic for taking on the go for touch-ups, no problems at all. And I just sort of tap that in and press it where I get oily throughout the day, but you can see it still looks glowy, like I don't have anything out here. The glow is still very much there, but it just sets everything in. And again, the longevity, it's beautiful. So obviously I already have a little bit of that powder bronzer sort of through the crease. I really enjoy a little pop of colour in the summer, and the colour that I have been reaching for the most is, I know I said at the start that I only use affordable makeup. I do allow myself little treats in eyeshadow palettes. So this is the Bella Beauty Bar Ocean Jewel palette, and honestly I have been taking any one of these like neon shades at the bottom and just popping it right on the inner corner. I love that in summer. I really like that in spring with more like pastel shades, but now I'm getting into like the neons. So I'm going to take quite a small brush. Let's take this one, and I'm gonna go in with Let's go in with Sundial. I feel like this colour, there's some pops of like really bright yellow in my dress, so that'll match nicely. And I'm just going to tap this right onto the inner corner. So naturally, as I have blended that out, I've gone a little bit overboard. That's fine. I love colour. You can just use like the tiniest little dot of this like right on the inner corner and it's still very, very impactful. I've obviously gone for a little bit more and that's fine. It doesn't matter if you don't like it because you don't have to wear it. So then I wear a liquid liner every single day, okay? I love the look of a bright pop of something on the inner corner and then a big black wing, and the wing of choice, the liquid liner that I rely on when it is 100 degrees outside, is the 17 Ink Legend Tattoo eyeliner. This is the black one. You know I love the bronze one, you know I love the navy, I also love the white. This comes in so many different colours and I love all of the ones that I have tried. This stuff is fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and do a big black wing. I'm not even going to lie to you and say that I'm just going to do something little. You know, if you've seen my channel before, you know I love a big black wing. So I'm going to go off and do that. I need to concentrate for this, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I actually think I've done a fairly decent job of making those look somewhat the same. For someone who wears a wing literally every single day, I am no good, okay? No good at making them even look remotely similar. So for mascara, I'm going in with another e.l.f. product. This is the Incredicurl. This is the new one that they recently brought out. If you need smudge proof, long lasting, absolutely heat proof, I wouldn't say waterproof, it does come off with water, but so long lasting. Like I wouldn't go swimming with this, but I would go to the beach in it, you know? It's one of them. It is incredibly, incredibly long lasting and I love the way that this looks. It's very dramatic looking. It's very thickening, I find. I just love this mascara. I will repurchase after I'm done with this one because I think it's one of my favourite mascaras of all time. I have always really enjoyed e.l.f. mascaras, but this one and the longevity of it and the way that it sort of builds up my lashes very, very easily. I mean, I get it all over myself. I will clean that up in a minute, but I am a huge fan of this mascara. Again, I need to concentrate because I'm getting this absolutely everywhere apart from my eyelashes. BRB. There we go. Lashes are volumized, like so dramatic, but so quick. So quick. And I just love the way that this looks and it lasts so well. It lasts incredibly, incredibly well. I did also clean all of that up across my lid because there was a sizable amount of it all over my lid. That is user error, okay? Nothing to do with the product. So onto the lip products. I'm going to be using the same tint that I used on the cheeks, the e.l.f. Sheer For It blush tint. I'm going to be using that, but I will also use a lip liner. Now, I want to start a petition, please, for more brands to bring out orange lip liners and just orange lip products in general. It's slim pickings. There isn't a lot of choice, but I love this lip tint. I think that it is beautiful, but in terms of like a very, very long lasting lip liner, I don't have an incredible orange option that I would like fully rely on in the heat. So I'm going to be using this one, which is more of like a brownie tone. This is the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Lip Liner. This is in 02 Silky Hazelnut, but first I'm going to use the lip tint. So I'm really going to like scrape the product off the applicator so that there isn't too much, and then I'm just going to go straight in. And it's a light amount of colour, but the tint is really there. It lasts incredibly well. And because it's more of like a watery tint, it just sinks straight in and lasts really, really well. So I've just done a few little layers there, let it like dry in between, then go in with a little bit more. As you like let it sink in, it dries down, but it doesn't feel dry. Honestly, it does just feel like you're sort of painting water onto your lip, and then the colour stays, and it stays incredibly, incredibly well. I love that lip tint. I'm just going to give that a little minute to dry down, and then I will go in with the lip liner. I like to do it this way so that the stain is like directly on the lip, and then you can go in with the lip liner afterwards. Like I said, this is in 02 Silky Hazelnut, but I'm just going to do a really light little layer around like the outside of the lip. And you can see it doesn't take away from the orange colour, but it just adds that tiny little bit of definition. I love an orange lip. You will never ever get me away from an orange lip. So that is everything. I do believe we are done. I did bring over a liquid highlight, but I feel like the skin is glowing enough currently. I really, really love this whole routine. The only thing that I would change is the colour of the brow pencil. I think if I had a slightly warmer brow pencil, that would be like perfection, you know? But that is my summer routine. The heat-proof, sweat-proof, long day, heat wave proof makeup. I would love to hear what you think. I would love to hear what your summer favourites are. If there's anything that I have used here that obviously I love and you also really, really enjoy, I would love to hear about it down below. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye bye.